Good morning to all. Myself Dr. TV Nagaraju. I am working as an associate professor in Department of IT, MLR Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. So till now we discussed exception handling mechanism. There what we discussed, try catch block, finally block, throw and throws keyword. In all those cases we are using handling of predefined exception. Now in this case we will move to custom exception, are also called as user defined exception. What is the meaning of user defined exception? Suppose according to my program I want to set some condition. Suppose if anyone violates that condition, that is considered as an exception. For example, according to government, the person who is eligible for vote is 18 years. That is not prescribed any predefined exception. I need to set some condition. The persons whose age is less than 18, those are not eligible. Immediately I need to raise some exception. You got it? So that is, you are moving to custom exceptions, means creating our own exceptions. But remember one point, whether it is a predefined exception or user defined exception, that exception must be a subclass of exception. You already know exception superclass is there. Any type of exception must and should be a subclass of this exception. Now, what is the procedure for creating a user defined exception? I will explain step by step. Understand carefully. Step 1 is, previously I have arithmetic exception is there. You are defining? No. Already some persons, that is a Java developer, define one class, that is arithmetic exception. One class, arithmetic exception. That class will handle all type of arithmetic problems. Already that is defined. Now exactly in this you need to create one class. That class will handle my exception. So what is the first step? Create a user defined class. Like arithmetic is predefined, you are like to create a user defined class. That class also extend from java.lang.exception. That is the first step. Parallelly, I will show you the program also. Now, what is the first step? Create a class. Assume this is my class name. Create a class. This is invalid age exception. That is my class name. What I said? This class extends exception. Remember, this code for predefined exception, this code is already available. Predefined exception, that code is already available. But for user defined, you need to write the code. My step 1 is completed. What is step 1? Create a class. That class extends the exception. Clear? Now, coming to step 2. Within that class, you need to create a parameterized constructor. You need to create a constructor with some parameter. What is that parameter? String is the parameter. Why string? For message. For example, in the previous example, if division by 0 occurred, you are writing system.out.println automatically displays slash by 0. How it occurred? That message is already placed inside that particular class. So, create a parameterized constructor with string as parameter. Now, whenever an exception is occurred, you need to print that one. How? Actually, you are now no print statement. Pass that message to their parent class. Who is the parent class? Exception is the parent class. How do you call the constructor of the parent. You already know, super of. That is my third step. Now observe, I written one constructor with some parameter super of str. What is the meaning? Whatever the message here, that is passed to superclass constructor. In the superclass already the entire code is written. If you just to pass the message, the display operation is done. My first point is completed. This is the first point. Again I will repeat. What is the first point? Like arithmetic exception, you need to create one exception. Their arithmetic exception class is not visible to us. Directly you are creating an object. Why? That is available inside the lang package, and by default at the time of their creation they are extending the exception. Like this, I create this class and constructor of the super class. Okay. Now, what is the next one? Next one is your normal program. So, how you written C is equal to A by B? Like this, you are writing your set of statements inside the try block. Inside the try block, you are writing set of statements like C is equal to A by B. If B is equal to 0, then exception is generated. That is also predefined. But here my user defined means you need to set one condition. According to that condition, you are allowed to throw. So, if the declare a condition to raise the exception. If the condition is true, then create an object for the X object class. So, in the previous case also C is equal to A by B, automatically an object is created. But in this user defined, if the condition is true, you need to create an object for that user defined class along with some exception message. See this one? Along with some exception message. Finally, what you need to do? By using throw keyword, you need to throw that particular object. Already in the previous session I said, generally throw is used to throw an exception explicitly. Now see this one. Within my program, I written one method. For the method, I written throws invalid age exception. Now, if age is less than 18, this is my condition. Suppose if the condition is true, throw new. Instead of arithmetic, this is the name. I already created the exception with this message. Else no problem. Okay, this is my program. Now the remaining is same. I call this validate method. If there is exception, it will handle. And here if it uses throw keyword, inside the catch block, you are handled. Okay, whether throw occurred, you are throwing the exception. If invalid age, that is also placed inside the try catch block. Now you understand step by step procedure of handling the exception. See, again I will repeat. First one, create an exception class. This is my user defined. Every exception class must and should extends the superclass exception. Here I have one constructor with string as parameter. This syntax is fixed. Why? That message is passed to the parent class. What is the parent class here? Exception is the parent class. Now, I create one more class. This class consists of one method validate. So, if the method does not want to handle exception directly after the method signature, I use throws followed by the name invalid age exception. Clear? Now, I set one condition. If the condition is true, I manually, that is explicitly, throw the exception with. Remember what happened? This exception object is created with some message new eligible. Whenever an exception object is created, what happened? Whenever an object is created, the constructor is executed. That means this is executed. Whenever this is executed, it have one message string. Now here I passed the string. This string is passed here. That string is passed here, and the string is passed to the parent class. Now you got it. Internally this much meaning is there. Object is created, constructor is executed automatically. Now coming to main method. So in the main method, just we are doing all the calling operations. We are doing all the calling operations. We are calling the main method. So call the method. If an exception is occurred, just you are printing the message. Finally, rest of the code. Finally, rest of the code. Now go to command prompt. Now see this one. I given age as 13. That is, the condition is true. It throw an exception. So that exception is caught the exception. Now see this. See my program. So it throws an exception. That exception is moved to the caught the exception, and then displays the message. See this one, not eligible. Whatever the message you given, that message is displayed. That message is displayed. Now you understand, this is the concept of user defined exception or custom exception. Okay, in what situation? If you want to set our own conditions, in that case we are moving to this user defined exception. So this is the concept of exception handling. That's the end of today's session. Thank you.